Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I'm Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Benucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lorna. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Good morning,
Oh my
Lorna.
gosh.
Well, hi there, Kenny. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very well.
Yeah. Nice. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. It's thank you for joining us. Such a lovely fall day. I don't know where you are, but like where I am, it's gone from summer to literally fall immediately.
I'm in Vancouver.
Okay.
We are nice today, man. Like it's looking really nice today.
We've dropped below 20 already here.
That's what we call nice.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Wait, we're not good in the 30s. Like we're good in the 20s. We're not
I
good
love
in
the
30s.
30s. And
Yeah, we're
now
not-
it's
no,
gone from Anyway.
Our city doesn't function well in the higher temps.
Lorna, I have to say I'm pretty excited to meet you for the first time. Having been in the retail industry a long time, I feel like I see your work everywhere I go. And I feel like there's not many people that the industry feels exactly the same about, because we all love you, I think. So I'm really excited to meet you. I'm really glad to get the chance to say hello.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been a fun ride. I've been in the industry for 40 years. It's kind of crazy. I was saying to someone the other day, I remember when the Canadian Health Food Association trade shows had a smoking section in the show.
That's funny. Right? That's
Do you
funny.
remember that? Were you there?
No, I didn't
Not
really
me, no.
start until like about 2000 when I went into the office at LD. So my first expo, we were still upstairs. It was only about 3/4 full at that time. We hadn't gone downstairs. And CHFA for like people in like I was in obviously London drugs, right? In drug or grocery, none of us knew what CHFA was.
Right.
Like there's no CH because we would go to any CDS or anything in drug, but CH, I mean, that would have been like, some hippies, what kind of smoking room they had, who knew. It was definitely that group. Like, so none of us like in our side would have known that. So my first experience with the industry was Expo. Then I started going to CHFA, like, because then it's after the first Expo. I think the first Expo I met you because I was with Bird. So I met you, I met Mosca, I met like the, Gaetano. Well, I mean, I knew Benny, but I didn't know Gaetano. So like I started meeting all these industry people. And even at that time, like I know Phil's said it, but even at that time, you were already well into like rock star status. You may as well take it because it's true, right? Everybody knew you. Everybody knew what you were doing. Your status was huge. There was a handful of you that had been around sort of since the beginning of this natural health thing. And you were one of the few, probably one of the few women who was that powerful within this group of a lot of, like, I guess most industries, unfortunately, a lot of men, like you know what I mean? So it was, I'm dying to hear that part of it because I'm curious to see, I'm super stoked to have you on too, because I think your story is going to be really cool. You've done a ton. You've helped this industry immensely. So I'm pretty stoked to see have you talk to us. I'm interested definitively from the perspective of a woman within the industry, because as Phil and I've done more of these podcasts, like at the beginning we were kind of naive to it. Like I really believe that. I mean, I knew our industry wasn't level playing field, but I assumed the natural health was more level playing field than like the mass side. But I don't know. I'm as you go over time, you start to think, okay, maybe that's not necessarily true. Yeah. So I'm interested from even from that perspective, like how much different it was for you, or much maybe tougher it was, or not. Because like I said, at that time already, you were like it. Like, I mean, everybody knew Lorna. Like everybody. And I think it was before the vitamins line came out. So anyway, I'm going to talk no more. I'm super stoked to have you on. It's basically your show from here on out, whatever you want to talk about, but we'd love to hear history and what you're doing.
So if you haven't figured out who we've got on, we've got Lorna Vanderhaeghe on, and she's just so I'm a little bit after Kenny, but like I started CPG in 98. But even when I was big CPG, the Unilevers, the J&Js, all those guys, started hearing your name kind of like 05, 06-ish, right? So I'm a little bit later than Kenny, but knew the name. And then, when I got onto the retail tech side, started to hear your name a lot more, and then got into, the health food side. And it was just Lorna this, Lorna that, Lorna. So it's kind of awesome. It's anyway, so I will stop talking too. We have Lorna Vanderhaeghe on, and I think this is about as excited as Kenny and I can get at first thing in the morning for Kenny for Kenny and Lorna at 8:11 for me. Usually by now I'm ready for a nap, but anyway, so I'm going to stop talking too. Welcome to the show. We're honored to have you. We would love you to start wherever you feel like starting.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, I love the industry. That's the bottom line. And I got involved with the industry because one of my kids was sick. My oldest daughter had this god awful head to toe eczema that we went from pediatrician to skin specialist, and nobody could fix it. And I went into a health food store for the first time with my baby in a stroller. And she said, "Oh, no problem. This is an essential fatty acid deficiency. We're going to fix her up." And within a few weeks, it was gone. And I looked at my husband at the time and I said, "Okay, there's something about this health food store stuff that I've got to learn about." And so, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Totally.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
totally.
Good. Yeah.
They've got a big dump truck outside.
Oh.
So I said, I've got to go find out more. I worked in the logging industry. So it was a big change. I saw an ad in the newspaper, back in the days when we had papers. And Siegfried Gersh from Alive magazine, who also owned Flora Distributors at the time. So he owned Flora and Alive. And he had a job opening for a receptionist, which was a little bit less money than what I was making at the time. And I left my job and I went to work for Siegfried Gersh. I did not do his receptionist job. He hired me to be his marketing right-hand person. At the time, he called me his right-hand man to do basically everything and anything that he needed done. And he was quite a visionary in our industry. For people who never got the chance to meet him, he believed that everything could be solved and healed with food and nutrition. And I was fortunate to work with him for a couple of decades. So I decided I would become a doctor, went back to school to get my science degree. That didn't happen because I had too many children and I couldn't abandon them to go become a medical doctor, but I got almost there and finished my master's in science and nutrition. And what really excited me back then was that we couldn't make claims about any of our supplements in the industry. Everything was an antioxidant for good health, and that was it. Or you could just call it the name it was. And we really had to fight very hard to show that our industry was valuable, science-backed, supported by education. And so I just dove in and decided that I would do nothing but educate people about the science behind what we do in our industry. It's changed a little bit. If you've noticed, when you walk a health food show, it's not so science-backed anymore, which has me a little bit concerned. And every time I see an article in the paper bashing, an article on our news feeds bashing melatonin or some other ingredient, I get worried because that was the old days, 40 years ago. So I'm about the science behind our industry, which I think we have an incredible industry that we should be shouting from the rooftops. We're now, of course, regulated by ourselves, not by some government. We did this internally. We change people's lives. So that's kind of my, you know, I've along the way, I got to work with some of the greats, like the late Linus Pauling, the late Abram Hoffer, who was big into niacin and vitamin C, and some of these incredible people who were the founders of our industry. So I've had a really varied background, which probably is the reason why people keep saying, oh, you know, what does Lorna think?
Right.
Yeah. So, and, you know, in the days when we couldn't get our supplements anywhere, and we were a bunch of hippies, you know, with our hair down to our knees. And then we started going into Shoppers Drug Mart and, you know, London Drugs and all of the big mass guys, which a lot of people were really worried about. And I became very proud of that. I thought, wow, you know, when the large organizations want to have our supplements on their shelves and care about organic food, we should be really proud of the work we've done to get here.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
Look, you changed. I mean, that you and your generation changed the way we see things, right? Like Kenny and I talk about it all the time. You think of everything from, you know, even 10 years ago, like being able to find gluten-free products or supplements was ridiculously difficult, right? Like there'd be a tiny little freezer about this big. They have full of, you know, like from that to supplements that you can now find at Shoppers. These are things that we could never find before, right?
It was a tough go though, Phil.
You know, you're kind of a crackpot for even looking. If you were mainstream looking to go that way, you literally had to go from like a normal person to like a crackpot before you could ever find this stuff, right? Like it wasn't.
But that was also an industry issue. I remember going for the first 100%. Probably 4 or 5 years to Expo and a few CHFA, and basically having to beg half of them to talk to us because we were the devil incarnate. Like nobody wanted to talk to, because we were going to kill the industry. Right.
Is that you specifically, Kenny, or?
Sometimes I wonder, Phil. I really did, because it wasn't a lot of.
I did beg to talk to you, Kenny.
I know, but by the time you and I would have talked about business together, it was already getting well established. At the beginning, though, you were always nice. Mosca was always nice because I was with Birdnap, but really, not a lot of people wanted to, like. I remember going, "Tell me what you want me to do. Like, if it's price you're worried about, tell me the price you want to be. I'll hold it. Like, I won't do anything to screw this up, because I really think we could." If this stuff stays where it is, it's going to get as big as it gets. This is it. You have to get into the other side. You guys just have to educate our side so we understand what the hell you're trying to tell us. And then, yes, it has to be a little more price competitive. I mean, there's other issues, but if you didn't get into mass, it was always going to be a room full of, you know, not derogatory, but, you know, a room full of hippies, and nobody else was going to get to participate in the cool shit that was happening on that side. Right. I remember the first few years. It was hard for Lorna. Nobody would talk to us. Like nobody.
I remember when Michael Loveson, who was the head at Loblaws at the time.
They were even worse.
Yeah.
And he walked into my booth and he said to me, "Hey, Lorna, you know, this is the coolest thing I've seen. Like nobody else is doing women's health. And 80% of our shoppers are women. And so, you know, we've got to have you." And I said, "Oh, I can't go into Loblaws." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Because I've heard these stories that you buy our products and then you can't sell them. And so they all come back dirty with stickers all over them. And we have to pay you for the return. And I can't afford to go in there." And he said to me, "That's okay." He said, "We won't charge you any listing fees," which was huge back then.
Kind of
and he said, "And I promise you, Lorna, we won't ship all your stuff back dirty." And so, and, you know, I was a little worried because the industry was so, you know, if you go into mass, health food stores are going to hate you.
Exactly. They'll stop buying you.
But I made a decision to create so much education for consumers. Like really, my company was not a supplement company. We were an education company that sold supplements on the side to fund our education company. And so I think it was a great model. I spent a lot of time in the health food store educating people, not just the retailers, but the people who came in the store, the consumers. And then I spent a lot of time talking to people, trying to help them to get the kind of care they couldn't get in their doctor's office, you know, get to the root of their health issue. And so with that in mind, everybody benefited. The Loblaws of the world, who had the shopper who was never going to set foot in a health food store.
Ever.
You know, that was the shopper. And for me, it was about helping every woman. It wasn't just about which category my products went into, because ultimately people who know me know that it was really about the education, about telling people that we could solve disease problems with food and nutritional supplements. Right. And I don't think you can do it just with food, by the way. I think you have to have the great food, organic, non-GMO, the best food you can possibly get. But the way that our world is right now, I don't think it's possible to do it just with food. I think that we are onslaughted every day with environmental poisons and toxins and stress, horrific stress. So we, you know, humans can endure a lot, but we're enduring too much.
Right.
And then the body fails. So I think you have to do it with food and good quality nutritional supplements.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue that.
I believe that too. Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that at all.
Yeah.
But I remember those days of going into mass and being afraid that every health food store owner in the country would turf my products off the shelf.
But we also saw that though. Like when we started listing some lines, they just wouldn't. Some of the local stores, like close to a lot of drugs, would stop carrying. You're thinking, guys, I mean, leverage us. You know, the numbers haven't really changed. Only 15 to 20% of the population shops in the natural channel, like specifically the natural channel. 80% shop in mass. Now, it's not saying you don't get crossover and that all the mass channel is not looking toward the natural channel, but a lot of them are still not going into their stores. But leverage the fact that you have done a great job educating the masses, and they will wander. But if you don't have them in that channel, like, you're never going to grow, because the objective of the whole channel was to help everybody, not just a specific group who was going to those specific shows. Like, the intent was, like, we should all be eating better and we should all be supplementing better, or whatever that meant. Right.
Yeah.
So until you guys actually crossed over, I remember Roland, when I used to try to get Natural Factors, and he would never in a million years sell it to me, like, ever. We had to buy Weber or Holista or whatever, which is fine, but
a different brand. Yeah.
But that made sense. I got it. I understood what he was doing. I didn't like it, but I understood it.
The health food industry, you know, the health food stores in particular, in the health food industry, we were where you went to learn. This is where you went to learn about supplements, where you went to learn about what to do for your cancer or your eczema, or, you know, your allergies, female health problems, your allergies. This is where you went when the medical guys failed for you. This is where you went. So there was this huge education push, you know, people like Udo Erasmus, myself, Sam Gracie, you know, Sherry Torkas, you know, people, Joey Schulman. We were on the road nonstop for decades, teaching people about natural medicine, really educating people about using food and nutrients to treat disease. And that has stopped. And that's a big problem, because we don't have people out there. And yes, COVID put a glitch in all of it, but even so, things have shifted so much. You know, when I was out there, you did radio, you did television, you wrote articles in magazines and newspaper. You were constantly, for me personally, I like to talk to people directly. I like
you were
to
in the
touch
stores
and feel.
A lot.
Yeah, I like to touch and feel people and see their expressions. And now it's all social media, which, by the way, I had a conversation, because I'm doing a lot of mentoring right now, startup companies. I had a conversation yesterday with someone who said, you know, Facebook won't let me post anything. It's like censorship. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to get out there and talk to people directly, because nobody's censoring us when we rent a hotel room and we go and talk to the people who want to hear us. But right now, it's completely bizarre. You are reliant on social media. There is nowhere to advertise. People are streaming TV now, so there's no ads. Maybe YouTube for a minute.
Even then, you kind of wait to get out of those too, right?
Yeah. And then you've got to find a some of these great, opinion leaders now that are on social media to tell people. But I mean, I'm really concerned because where are people going to get good, solid science, evidence-based information about our nutritional supplements in this industry? Where are they going to get it? Because, if you don't have people like me out there doing this, then where are they going to get the information to then go into the store and buy what they need?
I worry about it too, Lorna, because where they're going? They're going to TikTok, or they're going to an Instagram reel, and it's a person who really doesn't have any background, most likely in a lot of these things. So you get an influencer, whether it's a Kardashian or whatever. What the hell do they know about any of this stuff? I mean, seriously, the reason I liked the beginning of expos because I got to talk to you guys. No, I mean, half the time I didn't understand what the hell you're telling me, but I would listen because I knew you guys knew stuff and you were going to hell of a lot smarter than I was. And then I would pick products accordingly. Right. And then I try to get my pharmacists more excited because they only get an hour in their 5 years of education on nutrition. You know what I mean? Like there's no, at that time anyway, there's better now, but they had nothing. So if you didn't get them educated by having you guys go to their conferences, et cetera. But I think those days, to your point, are pretty much done. I mean, there's very few demos in stores. Newspapers are dead. To your point, streaming is everywhere. Now we're getting influencers, which I hate to say, I won't trust with anything. They may be famous and they may have 1 billion followers and good on them, and I'm happy for them, but I ain't going to take any health advice from them. Right? Where am I going to go now?
So as an industry, because I'm all about our wonderful, great industry, I think we have to start creating expert, podcasts for people somewhere where they can go and trust and ask us questions. There are things that in our industry that I would love to change. I'd like to get us even better. And, I've never thought Health Canada was our enemy. I love the fact that we can put claims on our bottles now, because like I said, at the beginning, everything was an antioxidant for good health. And you couldn't tell people what your supplements were for. On the flip side, it taught me how to write incredible articles, never ever mentioning the word cancer, but the articles could scream cancer, and I often get asked this question about trends. What's a trend, Lorna? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the trend is sick people. That's all that matters. We are here to help and fix sick people.
That is definitely a trend. Nothing's changed.
This is a trend. People are sick. People are depressed. People are overweight.
Stressed.
People are. It's so. This is our trend, is to help people feel amazing, fit, strong, vibrant, live until they're 100 without disease. That's our trend.
Right.
I think I think you guys are right. Like I think there's a lot of shrinking mediums, but I do think, to your last point, is I think that there are a lot of places that kind of true influence. The funny thing is it's our, if you're between kind of like 35 and 65, the medium space is really treacherous, right? Because we made the transition from old media to new media, and it's hard to know who to trust. But if you look at the younger folks, the 14 to 25s, they're actually quite good at spotting who is not authentic. And I think the more authentic you are, the more they know, right? Because they seem to have the right instincts. My 16-year-old and my 14-year-old, I watch all of their stuff, but I am beginning to think that they should be watching my stuff and not the other way around, because they're just really good at spotting authentic, right?
And so they seem to catch it.
Well, look, it's their generation, right? Like they grew up with this stuff. We adapted it and we kind of hacked our way through it. We hack our way through it every day, right? We don't really know. Like these guys know. And so I do think, to your point, Lorna, that as we transition to digital and authentic, it's actually, because the younger generation, they're really tuned. Like I was telling my daughter, I was telling her when I grew up and I played sports, we had no idea about nutrition. Like when I was 14, 15, you just ate whatever, right? You were like starving after playing a day of sports and you came home and ate whatever. Mine comes home and she's like, listen, I am, you know, my wife will go, oh, you know, have some bread, or when she goes, no, I'm not having any carbs. I just came home. I need some protein. I need something to replenish. Maybe I need some electrolytes. Do you know what I mean? Like what? 14? Like
when we came home, we just ate it. Peanut butter sandwich, cake,
like,
whatever.
Open the fridge and like scoop up everything you can find, consume it all, and then figure out what's next, right? Like, so I do think that they're ready for us to be experts on, you know, kind of the new medium. So I do think, I don't know, dare I say it, but Lorna, if you shot some of your insights from store on TikTok, you'd blow up in a heartbeat.
Oh, you'd blow. It'd be nuts.
Yeah, you'd lose your mind.
They keep telling me to do this, and
I'm telling you, you would be crazy on it. Yeah, because I think first off, you're trustworthy, and you know what they're all looking for, especially the younger people.
Yeah,
they just want someone they know isn't bullshitting them.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. They really do, and because they see through it. Our generation, because you can tell the crap that we read, and you can tell the people we follow in terms of leadership at government levels, et cetera, that we have no clue what the hell we're looking at. Like we buy into stuff that is complete nonsense, and half the population in either country will go that route. What does that tell you, really? You know, how we're educating ourselves is really scary. So we need people on those mediums talking to the younger. Seriously.
I'm going to make a suggestion, and then I want to ask you a question because there's something I've been dying to ask you. So my suggestion for you would be, because TikTok is all about authentic and it's all about non-scripting. So what I would do is next time you're in a store, I would film a little like 2-minute thing on one thing that you love. Like go into the store, find a product that you love and just go
and tell us why.
I love this. I love this because, and that's it. And then I would stop it. I wouldn't explain who you are. I wouldn't do anything. I would just plunk it out there.
I agree.
And my bet is you'll come back and go, holy crap, how many people like, and then as you film those, people will follow you because they'll just, anyway, that's my suggestion.
And then they'll love the fact that you'll also pick up stuff maybe side by each. I like this one more than this one. And here's why. Do whatever you want. You know, you're not forcing people to buy things, right? It's listen, I know I've been in this industry a long time. Here's why I go here. Because honestly, if you go on TikTok now, like if I was to go on, I don't even know what the hell to look for. And I'm not going to trust, unfortunately, some 18-year-old, because to me, that's almost like the old days of the industry. Yeah. Prior to you guys educating, you know, you'd go in and you get Johnny Stockkid in a health food store, basically telling you he could cure you of everything. You're thinking, wow, a medical degree at 18. Good for you, man. Like, how smart could you be? Because apparently you have all the cures, right? So you get the cynics like us going, really? But as it's evolved, now you do have a lot of people. You'd say, yeah, we do need more natural. Who do I talk to?
Yeah.
Like, who do I go to? Like, really, if you ask me, like, where would I go now? Well, I'm going to go on Facebook and it's going to be
showing up at my door. Like, I have friends showing up at my door going, listen, what do you think about probiotics? And my first answer to them was, are you crazy? What are you asking me about probiotics for? Like, what do I know? And they're like,
I know.
Well,
I think they're supposed to be really good. Where do you get them? I don't know.
One of friends said to me, you're the closest thing I know to the natural health food industry. And
That's scary.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I am all that you've got. Like, I'll find you somebody. So
you said something about kids, and you know, I've got 4 adult kids, and I have 10 grandchildren. They range from 26 to 2. And, you know, we've been a health food family for a very long time. People used to call us the health food freaks. You know, I'd invite their friends over for dinner and the mothers would call and say, I heard that you are vegetarian. What are you going to feed my kid? And I'm like, well, you know, how about macaroni?
You know, like
really,
but
anyways,
people.
You know, I've been so lucky because my kids worked in my business. My oldest son was the GM, and my younger son did all our IT, and then my youngest daughter did all the supply chain for the business right through until Jameson closed the doors. For people who don't know, I sold my women's health supplement company to Jameson in 2014, and then we continued for until 2020. I think it was April 2020 that they closed the doors in Vancouver and moved it to Toronto. So,
okay.
You know, we had a family run business, which was awesome. My daughter started her own supplement company now for kids.
Right.
And I have had a ton of young women working in the business. So young people that were super smart and continually talk about authenticity. And that is something I think is really important to them. They can tell when we're not authentic, when it's all about the money. It's not about good quality ingredients. You know, thank goodness for the new clean movement,
right?
Supplements getting cleaner and better and more transparent. And our industry has to stop using cheap garbage ingredients that, you know, we don't need to use anymore because we have such better things available to us.
Right.
You know, who cares if the machine runs faster to make your product cheaper? Let's make our products better. And
exactly.
So, you know, that's kind of the mandate of the young people. They want to take our industry to another level, which I think is really exciting. And for women in business, you asked me this at the beginning. For me, I never thought about men and women. I always thought I was one of them. So I didn't go like, oh, I'm a woman. It's harder though. I can tell you that it is harder for women. If you have children, you're constantly divided. You know, when I went on a road trip for a week, I had to make sure there was food for 3 meals a day times 5, plus all their activities and clothes and everything were all organized. So my husband went away, he just packed a suitcase and said, bye.
Right.
So, you know, it is harder. And I think women we're getting better, but I don't think we're as good at asking for what we want and need. And, you know, I think that's part of it. But I can tell you, if you have a woman run company and she's got kids, I used to hire a lot of single mothers. They can multitask. They never say no. They will do whatever is required to get the job done. They're incredible. So, you know, if I could say something to the men who are leading companies right now, more women need to be in the boardroom.
Yeah.
They need to be on the top, and you need to pay them properly and give them help with childcare and time off when their kids are sick.
Right.
And they will become the best, most incredible employees you've ever had in your life. So, and I get invited on a lot of boards because they need to have a woman. So that's kind of exciting. There's some benefit.
Well, at least it's changing a little bit.
This gender, you know.
Yeah. We need to get to a place where truly we can say you're one of us, period. Right? Like that's where we really need to go, right? Is Kenny and I feel this way, is we would like the playing field to be even in every way so that we don't see gender, period. What we really should see is talent, right? But in the meantime, we need to you got to
just plow through it, right? I mean, it's like anything. Too many of any one thing in a room making decision is not good. Doesn't matter what it is. You need more balance.
Yeah.
And I see that, and I think you're right, because women end up, well, they're moms, right? So the responsibility is going to be more than, because they carry this entity for the 9 months. There's not much really men do, so to speak, right? You know, from feeding, if it's going to be breast, can't do it. Like, I mean, there's a different attachment. So moms they're just different. You got different roles, and you can, it's amazing what moms can do. Like, they can multitask because they have to. Like, you're battling so many things, and kids typically, you know, maybe today they're not as much, because I've got my kids are 25 and 26, and definitely, you know, without Amelia, it's a whole different world.
Yes.
Right. It just, bottom line, it just is. And it's not that I wasn't trying to be involved or, but it's just different.
But you were, though, right? Like you were pretty involved, because like you would,
well, as much as I could, then I would travel and all that other crap.
Try and make sure.
I still do. I still move things around for sure. Yeah. But that didn't make.
It's still
if I was going to work, though, I remember it was a lot easier for me to get time off to go do something than potentially female colleagues. Because it was always going to men, and they'd be looking at you, well, you know, we walk it off, or, you know what, the kids will be fine. Like, I don't know.
It's the money thing. I have to be really frank here.
Maybe you're right. Yeah.
It's the money thing.
Cash.
And
right.
I think that the government needs to, I'm not big on government involvement with anything, by the way.
Nor are we.
The one thing I will say is there needs to be transparency in pay.
Yeah, 100%.
And, I taught all of the women that worked for me that they needed to ask for what they deserved. They 100%. Would come and do, their annual review, and they would tell me all these great things. And then I would say, okay, but the most important thing is how much of a raise do you want? And how much money do you want? And how much money do you want to make? And I can tell you that if we had transparency, meaning that every company needed to list how much they pay people, that we would shift things instantly, because the women are not paid the same. And I remember one time when I worked for Siegfried Gersh, I found out that I was an editor of one of his magazines, and he had the same magazine, but in French. And there was a French editor, and he was a man. And I found out he was making like $20,000 more a year than I was. Now, this was way back. And I stormed in his office and I said, he's making $20,000 more than I am. And he said, he has a family to support. And I'm like,
sorry,
so
what?
do I.
So do I.
Sorry, what?
I said, so do I. And I had to fight to make the same amount of money as he did. And
what do you think? That's a rugby team living at my house? Like, what's going on here?
I had way more family than the other guy did. But anyways, it was, the other guy's wife was at home. So he had to make enough money to have that. But I was a single mom with all these kids by now. And I was like, no, you need to pay me. But even today, I can guarantee you every executive that you guys get on this show, ask them if they pay the women the same amount of money. They don't. I'm telling you.
I tell you, Lorna, we don't have to ask, because statistically, we all know. I still think women are making between 70 and 80% of what men do on average.
It's got to stop.
And that's and it's funny because it's hard to understand, like, why in 2022, when we're all relatively bright, we're of a different generation. Why do we continue to do this?
Because we can, because the women aren't insisting. The women need to take responsibility too. I always used to say to the girls in my office, the women, this very wonderful, smart women, I don't want to, play it down by calling them girls, but they were incredible people. And, I used to say to them, you got to ask for what you want. And I know that when the company was sold, the HR department said, wow, do you ever have a very demanding group of women? And I'm like, that is the greatest compliment you could have given me, is that they all walked away understanding their value. And so, we need to value ourselves. The people in the C-suite who are paying their employees need to know that if they've got, two different sexes sitting there, they need to get paid the same for the same job. Yeah. That is incredibly important. And we even know this in finance, where women companies they're not getting as much money. When they sell their companies, they're not getting as much funding. Really? So when you're sitting there trying to get funding from funders, from investors, they're way down on Bloomberg companies getting funded.
That I didn't know, actually.
It's still, like because
still dominated by men.
Right.
Yeah, Bloomberg did a great report where they said it's declining, not improving. And it's such a tiny amount. And yet, I started my first company in my garage, and my kids packed boxes after school. I mean, that's what we did. So sorry to anybody who got the wrong bottle in there.
It was an honest mistake. It happens.
The kids were doing that. And, it's, I don't know, I'm incredibly blessed because I've got to do everything that I wanted to do in my career. And now I'm getting to help other people do what they want to do in their career. And, I joined the NPC, I joined NPC and NCN so that I could get more involved with startups and really help young people and, entrepreneurs in general get their businesses up and running.
Good for you.
It's amazing.
Good for you.
It's amazing.
That's good. I mean, that's the, we're all getting to those times in life where I think we kind of owe it to a large degree. We, you got to give back. You got to help people, and they got to they got to do better than what we did it. And they got to be, typically they are going to be better because they're typically smarter.
We could help them to let them know things they shouldn't do.
Well, ideally, here's a mistake that potentially is coming out. You can still take the mistake if you want, but experience dictates it's probably going to go this way. At least give them some.
And get good contracts, and if you're going to do business with your friends and family, then get even better contracts.
Yeah, even better.
And if you're going to, and do it before you start.
How many stories do we all have on those, right? Like,
well, personal and not.
It's a hard one, because money is a hard discussion for a lot of people to have. And I don't have a problem with that discussion anymore. I used to. Man, I had such a hard time talking about finance and money, but now I'm over it. And to learn that skill right at the beginning of starting your company is a really huge one. And learning how to have that conversation respectfully with your partners as well. But Kenny, did I read that you are now the owner of a grocery store?
Oh, I don't know, Lorna. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on any given day.
Yeah, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
So me and a couple buddies bought, Norman's on the drive, right?
My building is just a few blocks away from you. I'm like very excited.
So we're taking that over, and I do want to make it more of what I was trying to do and was able to do to some degree at London, where there will be conventional, but I want a lot more better for you, better for the planet type of product. But being cognizant that the drive is not, the richest part of the city. And I have a community that I also want to make sure I service, but I do want to see if we can do better than what's probably being done in the street or within the vicinity, and see if we can, step up the game a little bit. So yes, Lorna, I did something stupid and I don't know why, but I did. And it's probably because I just can't get out of retail. No matter how hard I try to move, it seems to draw me back.
I'm going to have to bring you a skid of my seed butter. And, I don't know if Dean Mosca told you, but he and I invested in a organic 5-seed butter. That's a
really,
allergy-free replacement for.
So now I'm going to be stuck listening for you and Mosca. Like now, I got.
You're going to have to now.
Yeah. So now
you're going to be there saying you have to take our product. And,
oh, Lorna, just come by the store once we get open. It's not like I'm going to be able to say no. So sure.
I really need help. Like, this is the thing. Like, neither Dean or I ever did food, and
I love this space.
Do you?
Are you food? Are you kidding me?
Food?
I love the food space.
Okay.
So
okay,
I
good.
will help you.
I need your help.
So I'll tell you what, you'll come by. Like, we'll hopefully be open by the end of the month. You'll come by, and this is where you want to talk about old school. I want to do demos in the store on the weekend. Yeah. I would like to have one or two vendors participating, because what I know, you have to tell people why you should eat my seed butter versus someone else's, or my cookie, or why these fruits, or why some of the, like I'm going to bring normal dairy cheeses in, but I will bring non-dairy cheeses in.
Yeah.
And and why? Because you should have the choice. And I don't care which one you pick. Like I like, Parmigiano is going to be really tough to be non-dairy, and I'm not going to go off that path. I don't care.
No.
But I have no problem.
You just want the really good one.
Yeah, but that's fine. Yeah. So for you, 100%, that. I mean, it's not like I can say no. You can't say no to Mosca either.
See, I was like, this show, I thought, okay, well, I didn't know that you had bought the grocery store when I said yes.
Well, at that time I hadn't. Nobody knew. I just let everybody know, like last week, because I was looking for local product. It's very.
Congratulations.
Condolences. I'm not too sure which one it is, but it'll be fun.
People keep saying to me, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, why? I must be starting to look old, because people keep asking me that.
Not at all.
But I am not going to retire. I'm going to be that one, that they're rolling in on the wheelchair at 100, still saying, I don't think you should do that.
I think this we should. Till the day I'm in the box. Yeah. I'm working. What else would I do? I enjoy working.
So much fun. There's only so much coffee and gym you can do. And, my days are just we're so blessed. We get to work in this really cool industry.
It's an awesome industry with awesome people.
Yeah.
And we're actually making a difference. We can change people. We can change how they live.
I think there's a lot of work to still be done in our industry. And I think we've got to really figure this whole thing. I'm even going to do TikTok. And I'm going to say that you guys convince me to do TikTok.
I'm there. I think
I'll
honestly, Lorna, I'm
away.
telling you will crush it. You don't believe it. I think you're probably a little tad cynical on this one. No, you will crush it. They're looking for people like you. I'm telling you.
Okay, well, we'll do it.
I really wouldn't don't produce it or anything. Like, shoot it right off the cuff.
You, right off the phone.
You, and
with so here's the thing, I have to tell you, some people are not very nice on social media. Like, if you do those impromptu shots with your hair in a ponytail and no makeup, they're like, oh, Lorna, you look really tired today.
But that's again, why do we have to focus on that? The younger people won't care because it's the content. They're not looking at that. Our generation, unfortunately, and again, probably more to women, it's look based as opposed to content based. We got to get away from that. Like, listen with your ears, not your eyes.
But listen, like, the other thing is, you don't need to, if you're worried about that part, what I tell people is don't shoot the shot at you. Right.
Or just do the beginning so I know who it is, and then the rest of it.
I would shoot the shot like on shelf. Like, there might be like one start of you in it, and then it's like, hey, so I'm here on shelf. Here's the product I really love. This is what I love about it. If you
walk me through the ingredients, why
you know these guys in the industry. So if you said like, hey, what you don't know about these guys is they use this product, or this is really amazing about the extract they use, or whatever it is, bam, you're done, you're out. Like, the authenticity is just, it's gonna pop. Like,
and all of us will share it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I Mosca posts stuff because he's doing his stuff on his medical side. When he posts stuff, we either repost it or like it or share it or whatever we do. So on the other side, see, and like, I find his stuff fascinating, but I don't understand half of it anyway. So whatever. But food, man, food is food. I get food. Like, I can do this stuff. So there's even ways for us to all comment and explain to people why you should follow her. Like, she knows what she's doing, man. Like, listen to her.
Yeah.
And you see, get some of the friends on, enough people in the industry. There's so many women in the industry who just need a voice. And we probably need to shut some of these men up and get more of the women talking. So,
well, there's a lot of great women, there's a lot of, and there's a lot of great influencers on social media as well, that are doing a good job too. So you're next. Well, I'll have to start doing that. I mean, something new to add to my daily schedule.
This one's an easy one though, because for a walk, you just look through a window, you see something interesting. You go in and do the Lorna, like, show me the package. Tell me what I'm reading. Like, tell me why. Like, what did you see that I didn't? And tell me how to do that. Because I would love to learn that.
Back in the old days, we used to do these tours of health food stores, and I used to teach people what to buy.
I did them in California.
Are you doing one? Like, you say where, and I'm coming. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Lorna, like, that would be amazing.
We used to do it in the regular grocery stores when we were teaching people what not to eat. Avoid the inner aisles of the grocery store. Don't eat this. But we had to have a camera crew and create a whole thing around that. But I used to do that for the stores way back. We would schedule these and have people come into the store.
People will do them now, and like you, for example, on the drive. There's enough of both. There's some true conventional. There's some natural. There's hybrids.
Choices.
You've got Sweet Cherubim. Hopefully you'll have us. You've got City, right? So there's a Super Value's done some good things and some things that are more conventional, but you've got enough even on the street to show people. Like, I think you can use our store as long as you don't pick on me too much. But you can come and definitely use our store and say,
I'm going to come and do your store because I'm going to have to stand in there on Saturday and demo my seed butter.
You damn right you're going to.
You know what? I loved demos. I have to tell you that because
you talk to people.
I've spent thousands of hours in health food stores doing book signings and talks. And I taught a lot of health food stores to put their their shelving on rolling wheels to put them all on these big pneumatic tires so they could roll them out of the way. And then we could go in there and do talks. I mean, ultimately it was a way for me to go and do a talk in a health food store and have them benefit after. And, stores like Nature's Fair, they did this. I would go in and do a talk in their store, and then they'd put their entire store on sale, not just my product line, but they would put the entire store on sale. And I would tell people which shampoo to buy, what soap, which laundry detergent, what foods. And I mean, it was just such a great time. Yeah. And, stores like Roots out in I think they're in Maple Ridge. They also put all of their shelving on pneumatic tires, and we put 200 people in that little store doing talks. So, there's ways to do it. Even if you don't think you have any money, you've got your space. And hey, if you've got a big enough storeroom or warehouse space, change it into a lecture venue and have events in your store. Bring people from the community into your store and make it a destination.
I agree.
I love it. I'm going to do a small shameless plug. We're almost out of time, but you're going to be at CHFA East, and you are speaking on all sorts of things. Like, I have discover how you two can access mentoring and money and more from NPC.
Yes.
You are doing one with your daughter, right? A founder's forum on how to build a business to sell.
And I'm doing a talk on the immune system. So
that was the other one.
Yeah. I started out doing my first book I wrote on matcha care. And then someone reminded me I'd written the very first immune system book in the middle of the pandemic. Hey, didn't you write a book on the immune system? So I'm doing a lot of talks on the immune system because, COVID isn't going away and there's other health issues. Coming. So I'm doing a talk on the immune system because a lot of the industry has new people. So if you want to come and listen to that. And then I'm doing the NPC, NPC has a $20 million government grant to help us. So come and find out how you can get mentorship, funding, the support NPC gives to entrepreneurs and startups of small, medium-sized companies is huge. And then I got invited to do the Founders Forum for CHFA. I guess I'm one of those founders, way back.
I would say, you're probably pretty critical.
And my daughter's going to come on, so people get to learn about her new company and her passion for the industry as well. So it's going to be good.
On our show, didn't we, Phil?
No, we connected with her, but we haven't. She's on the list. She's one
of those, under 40, super young,
40 under 40,
grew up in the industry.
That's what we want.
That's amazing.
Okay, we got to get her on.
Yay. Shameless plug. If you're going to be,
we're going to a few of them. I think
we'll drop the link to Lorna's talks underneath this because your episode will come out.
We're rushing this one, I thought.
Thursday, I think. It'll come out Thursday.
Right. We wanted to get you
something
up before CHFA
imminently soon.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we get the episode out because we knew you were coming to the show. But thank you for coming on.
I'm stoked because I haven't told anybody that you're really on, and I know a lot of people are going to love the fact that
they're going to lose their minds.
I think it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Okay, well, thank you.
It's going to be awesome. Thanks, Lorna. We'll see you at the show.
Yeah, it'll be great. It's going to be a lot of fun this year.
And then you're going to come visit me in October.
Oh, yes.
We'll go for coffee.
Don't worry. I need your help.
I'm there. I told you. I'll help.
Anybody 100%. Who's listening, who knows how to help us get our seed butter out there. I mean, we need it.
So let's put that plug in here too. So what's the seed butter called?
It's called Simply Seeds. It's a 5-seed organic, allergy-free. So, one of the challenges, you walk around all these shows they're all demoed in nut milks and they have nuts in them. What if you're nut allergic? I got a couple of kids who are nut allergic. Yep. So we're really focused on that. And you can't take peanut butter sandwiches to school.
Not anymore.
The kids love this stuff. Yeah.
We'll talk about it because this is sort of our wheelhouse anyway. Okay. And now we have, a retail store we can abuse.
Yes.
And actually probably the right neighborhood to large degree. So you and I will figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Lorna.
you very much for coming on, Lorna. Really, really appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you too. We'll stick around. We'll chat. But Lorna, enjoy your day. Enjoy the sun.
Bye, Lorna.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.
I'm going to hang up now.
You can hang up. We're done.
Okay. Bye, Laura.
Ciao.
She's so cool.
You want to go? Yeah. I mean,
she's so cool.
I'm so happy she came on. Like, so happy
I was so excited for this.
Like,
one.
I'm so happy she came on.
I was trying not to be all like excited, but I couldn't.
Well, you're a little giddy at the beginning. I'm thinking, okay,
I was giddy.
Go down
actually.
a notch, man. Like, seriously.
No, but seriously, right? Like, if there's anybody like,
there's not many in the industry
over the industry like
there's not many like in any industry, but she is definitively one.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, you wait till you see. I mean, we're gonna have so many people thrilled that she was on, because we know so many people that worked with her.
Yeah.
And we know a lot of people, like you may not even remember. We know a lot of people who work for her.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar. I know. So I'm excited. I was excited to get her on. She was just so kind and nice when I asked her as well. Like she was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Like,
I think it's awesome.
So
I really do. I think it's really, really cool. I really I've always liked her. I mean, I think she's just really just a remarkable woman, very bright, tenacious, and like, I mean, definitively someone who really, really, really well respected. On both sides of the border in this industry. So, I mean, that was pretty cool.
Okay, we're gonna shut up now and leave you guys on a high.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you
for listening. Enjoyed that one as much as we did.